Man, there's seven thumbs up already, and we haven't even done anything.
Please start.
Oh man, good evening, my friends. I've decided. This isn't the big news, but this is interesting for me. I think I've decided to name this the Flannel Fam Forum. Um, we have the Flannel Forum, which is our interview segment, if you will, but that isn't necessarily with fam of the flannel. That is just with people that we decide to interview. Some of them might be subscribers, and so they would also be flannel fam. But I think of this more as our family time. Hey, Sabrina, welcome. So first things first, as always, we are having a kombucha tea this evening. It is delicious. It's a green tea, which probably means I'll be awake forever because I don't normally have caffeine after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. RGB, hello. But it's a special evening. I'm very excited. We have another big, we always have big announcements. There's always so much going on. So, first things first, let's just knock this out of the way. In large part due to our interview that we had last week with my brother, we have had an influx in the past 30 days. Our channel's grown by something like 18%. So 230 something subscribers. So if you're a new subscriber and you are joining us in our live stream for the first time or on the playback, we give you a very hearty welcome. We normally talk about tea briefly in the beginning because I like tea and I drink it when we do these things. So we talk about tea. Not normally for very long. We plan on making our own tea and growing our own plants and doing that. So once we start doing that, we will be talking a whole lot more about tea, but we always start with what we drink. And then I sometimes start with some channel news. Sometimes we hold that to the end, but tonight we're going to start with channel news because it's very exciting. Everything is up, everything is growing, but not only that, if you remember last week, if I said that like 1 out of 3 people would watch the live stream all the way through from start to finish, we would hit our 4,000 hours required for monetization on the channel. Well, when I woke up this morning, and for those of you who don't know about the analytics and things like that, we're not going to get too deep into the weeds because it can get boring. But it's always 24 hours behind. So you can see like how many views you're getting in the past 60 minutes, but it won't tally up all your hours until the next day. I think here it happens at 6 a.m. So when I woke up this morning, we were 40 hours short of 4,000. So throughout the day, people have been watching various things, but this live stream, almost all of our live streams average over 50 hours. So barring catastrophe, me passing out in 10 minutes or internet dying, this very video should be the one that crosses us over that mythical 4,000 hours watched, which means that when YouTube gets around to it, they will start paying us 1 cent per 85,000 hours watched. I don't actually have any idea what they pay or how much they pay, but it's very cool. We've been working toward this part for since like May of last year, and you have to hit it within a 1-year period. So we're very excited. We've had a very positive reaction to the interview. Everybody seems to have enjoyed it very much. We have another one on the way. Mr. Scott Head is our next interviewee. And Ricky, thank you. Ricky says, I'll listen to more chicks chirping. Believe it or not, that sleep video I made, the rain video, has done very, very well hour-wise compared to anything else. The view-wise, it's not doing well, but the amount of hours watched, I think the average view is 48 minutes or something, so that really helped. But the interview with my brother passed 350 or 400 hours, so that really kind of gave us that kick. So we are going to interview Mr. Scott Head tomorrow, and I hope to have it edited by Wednesday. And then he and I need to get together and figure out when we can do the live premiere. So that's very exciting. And then I did reach out to Billy from Permapastures, and he has agreed to be our 3rd guest. So we have 2 more interviews in the chute, as it were. So I'm hoping to release one every week or two, because we try to line it up with other people's schedules and things like that. And it's a huge time commitment for a lot of really busy people. So we're hoping to get those out every other week or so, because not only do I want to edit it and get it together for you guys, but I want to make sure that whoever we're editing, we have on the channel with us, so that any questions that you guys might have for them that I didn't think to ask, because I kind of have a pretty standard, straightforward list of questions, you guys get the opportunity to ask them directly. So I have a couple videos in my memory card right now, but we are on break from the department, and as you guys know, my internet here is kind of rubbish, and typically I spend a lot of time here doing the work, not so much the editing. So yeah, Modern Yeoman says, "Punk, you got Billy, love him. He is super cool." And from his videos, I feel like he's a friend. So that's our big channel announcement. So if that was what you popped by for, you can go ahead and check out. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, we've been getting a whole lot done here. We've been clearing property with Hank. I started a large fire the other night. I have another video we're going to record about lighter wood. We're going to get that out hopefully next week. A lot of good stuff coming. But this weekend, I went over to Studley Farms, which is like the best name ever, and I went to a whole hog processing workshop. And this, his name is Paul. He's an amazing instructor, very, very smart guy. They've been doing pigs for over 15 years, him and his wife and kids, and his parents as well. And I'm telling you, man, this was a jam up class. I mean, he has a table of contents, different safety things, preparations, what you need, how to dispatch the pig, how to clean, how to scrape, how to scald. I mean, it was super, super hands-on. So something I learned, so I've heard people say they shock the pig and then they stick the pig. And I didn't know if it was like electricity. I didn't know if it was like a bolt type gun. And what his method is they basically aim right between the eyes with a .22 long rifle. Like this far, you know, the barrel from forehead. And the blunt force trauma of the .22 caliber round either immediately renders the pig unconscious and essentially brain damaged, or it kills them, one of the two. But the smaller caliber round does not go too deeply into the pig, so you don't end up trying to find bullets later or having much damaged meat. And so right, like immediately after you shoot the pig, you flip them over onto their back and you find like the notch and you essentially stab it in the heart. It sounds more brutal than the actual process, I think. Yep. Quick and painless. Brett says that's what happens. It's just like, I mean, really, the pig just collapsed with the shot. Roll them onto their back, stick, bleed, the end. So it was a very interesting process, and one I would highly recommend that you take a class on. I mean, I watched a lot of butchering videos, and that's actually how I found Billy. Hey, Bill, welcome. Bill says, "Good evening, Flannel fam. Driving to work, we'll listen in. Drive safe, my friend." So you can watch a lot of the eviscerating and the scalding and the skinning and all those kind of things, and they're really good videos. But actually watching the dispatching of the animal is something that should be done hands-on. Good evening, Nancy. It's good to see you. So that was day one. Was the whole brief, what you needed, all the equipment, the tools, the best way to do it, the different ways that he's found, the mistakes that he's made. Super cool. So the first day was dispatching. We scalded the pig, very large tub. And then, no problem, Sean, we'll see you when you get back. Sean says, stepping away from the computer, but playing it on in the background. That's why we do our best to make it like a radio show, because I have a face made for radio. So we dispatched the pig, and then we took it over, we scalded it, and we used bell scrapers. You can also use like tuna fish cans. It was really cool. Um, Most of it came off pretty easy, and then we, gutted the pig and went through that whole process. And again, hands-on, like as many things as you wanted to do, you could do. He's over Mechanicsville, and if you guys are interested, those of you that live within a couple hours, he limits the class to 12 people so that people get enough hands-on time. And just really, really good to have someone there to tell you all the different things that you need. And he did not. It wasn't a sales class, right? So he wasn't like pitching equipment or selling stuff to us. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but everything that he did was from his own experience and then things that he has found to be useful. So there's some more equipment that we need to purchase that we hadn't necessarily planned on right off the bat, but we're going to go ahead and get, even down to like the recommended knives that he uses and things like that. So we're going to get some knives. We need some plastic, big plastic cutting blocks. We need the meat grinder. I talked to Billy actually from Permapastures about what type of meat grinder to get, and his advice was extremely similar to Paul's, so that was good. A commercial grade type vacuum sealer. I've found a tub. He recommends for backyard butchering a tub to scald the pig in. So I found one on Craigslist for $20 that's getting demoed from the 60s. It's like this super awesome, like sunburst yellow color. So we're getting that. It was only $20. So there's stuff we've ordered, and more stuff that we need to order. The permit for the well has been put in, so we're waiting for that to get approved. They said the first of this coming week, so hopefully we get that knocked out. The baby chicks are getting big fast. We have moved them to the downstairs part of the brooder, so we had that whole upstairs area that was a really small, really enclosed, and that's getting warmer, and they're already big, so they're in the downstairs area, which is much more open, much less shelter. So the perch that birds would normally jump up to, they're way too little for, so we have the heat lamps hanging from there, and then we kind of wrap the sides in some tin. It's okay, they can't hear you. There's one of the reasons we have the setup that we have with the microphones and the filters and things is because this is an active homestead. There are still children running around and dishes being done, and we don't want you to have to hear all those noises while you're trying to intently focus on whatever it is that I am saying, because that is the most important part. Jeremy says, man, if you drove to Mechanicsville, you drove right past my house. Well, how come you didn't send me a flare? Leah says, howdy, flannel folks. Hey, Leah. So, learned a whole bunch about the butchering process of the pig and getting your hands on it and where you use knives and bone grit and cleanliness and how to keep your site clean, how to keep your knives clean, the best way to get rid of contaminants, and not everything went right. Certain things went a little sideways. The tendons tore in one of the foot when we were hanging it, so that didn't work. There was just a few things here and there that it was refreshing to see, because it helped us know when we run into certain problems. Right, it's almost better sometimes when you have a trained person and things go wrong, because they know what to do next. And so we got to see a few of those things. Lovely couple. They fed us breakfast and lunch, and most of the food was from, so like we had sausages in the morning and bacon. Of course, it was from their pigs. It was a really good experience. And it's funny, he was an hour away, which felt long, and then I realized I drive an hour and 20 minutes to work every day. So it's well, not every day, but on my department schedule. So it was good. It was very good. I feel much more. It's funny. Like I feel better equipped and more prepared. Like on one hand, it seems much easier than I thought, having seen it, and on the other hand, I feel woefully like ill prepared. And not equipped with the proper equipment and things like that. I'm not sure if they're going to be big enough to harvest before summer and before it warms up, so I'm going to have to probably quarter them and then put them in the fridge overnight instead of, like, last night was cold, so he just left it hanging up in his field behind fences so the predators didn't get to it, but it was not a huge uh, deal. He just left it, and we went home and came back the next day. Next live stream, if all goes well. Yeah, Nancy, you're correct. Nancy says now you'll have to learn how to cure ham and bacon. And that is next on the list. He had a stack of books that I posted in the thumbnail that he has used, and part of what he built all of his knowledge base on was those books, and of course doing it himself. He also went up with the Mennonites and did it with them too. So, like I say, super knowledgeable guy, very an invaluable experience. And it was very neat to be on someone's like homestead. It didn't feel like like a commercialized workshop, if that makes sense. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but we're circling the tables, and you're getting gristle on you and stuff, and holding the carcass while things happen because it was spinning. It was you were all up in it as much as you wanted to be. Obviously, there were some people there who were interested in the process but didn't really want to be in the process. There were a couple husband and wife teams there, and they were like different parts of it were going to be their responsibility and things like that. It's very cool. This is good tea tonight, guys, let me tell you. Because we stood outside in his field and like driveway for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours each day, so I was pretty chilly. So it's a nice warm tea. I think I shocked a lot of the people that were there with my subdued and quiet personality. I was doing accents and making dad jokes, and they were it was a good day. It was fun. So yeah, we're excited about the pig endeavor, even more so now that I feel like we're a little bit better equipped knowledge-wise. We have obviously more equipment to purchase. I need to get more freezers. We have to get a vacuum sealer. We have to get a meat grinder to make sausage, a sausage packer. I need different butchering knives than what I used for the chickens. I need a bathtub. I might get a chain hoist. Perfectly, yes. Leah says, you mean you were being a ham? Yeah, so he was like cutting around the eye, and I was like, I see what you did there. And they were just like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, well, you got pretty close considering you were eyeballing it. Just goofy stuff like that. And every now and then they were talking about Ukraine and have to have things. So Yuri would come out and talk about how they had salted pork, and they would take the big fat over in the old country, and they would cut it into cubes, and then they would put salt on it, and then smoke in smoker, and then you just eat it. You eat it. Also, apparently whipped fat is a thing in Europe, parts of Europe. They salt it, whip it, and then they spread it on their toast or bagels, or they use it essentially like mayonnaise. So we're gonna try that too. Why not? Give it the old college try. Lots of stuff. Lots of learning. It was really interesting because this was a massive 320-pound live weight American guinea hog, and it was very big, very, very fat. And so we hung it up, cut it in half, had all the organs out of it, the head off, and I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, man, there's just not that much meat. It just didn't seem like it seemed like there should have been more. And I know when you take the organs and stuff out of animals, they shrink significantly, and when you drain all the blood out of them and things like that. But when we started to fill the totes full of all the different cuts, and we started to actually break it down, you realize actually there's a lot more there than you realize. So he had this whole list of prep things. Yeah, preparation. So all the way down to I'm going to show you real quick. If you're watching the live stream via your whatever, you're listening to it and you want to know when the timestamp is to pause it to read this list, it is at approximately 9 minutes and 55 seconds. Bing. Um, so he gave us this list of preparation with all the different things that he has found. I hope that's not fuzzy. I can't see. It's kind of far away from me. To be useful. And this was just for slaughtering. So, canopies, tables, cutting boards, Clorox, water hoses, hose nozzle, processing equipment, including scalders and scrapers, full tank of propane, captive bolt gun R22, sharp knives, axe, butcher saw, shaving razors, string, matches, plastic bags, high temperature gloves, thermometer, lugs or the totes, and coolers. And that doesn't even include like the meat grinder and vacuum sealer and all those things. So he has stations and responsibilities, team lead, wrangler, removing the feed 24 hours, the stun and kill, the way to do it, like just super, super in depth. And then once you've got through all of that part, then he has all the cuts, broken down for you. And these are in books and things like that. But it was really neat to see it hands on and those things get pulled. And then he even has like what they mean when they say, what you get out of the head, what you get out of the shoulders, what you get out of the loin, etc. And then even more materials, equipment, like broken down so you can actually make like a checklist and just hit, check that you have all these things on the day of your butchering. And this one does have vacuum sealers and freezers and those kind of things. So it was just really, really useful. He has a whole list of references on the back with different websites and scalding temperatures, and so it was a really good, unlike the chickens. And then he has a whole thing from the Humane Slaughter Association on the actual dispatching of the pig and where you aim and what it does and those kind of things. So the most humane way possible. And then there was a cut sheet also on the back for the pork. And what he recommended was, this is the cut sheet. So these are all the different things that you can get out of those areas, the different cuts. If you want those cuts, you can turn everything into sausage. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. It's your pig. But he said before you even get to it, you can start checking off, yes, I want this. No, I don't want that. And it helps you plan everything ahead. So if you kind of run through the whole thing mentally, you're not out there with a half of a pig going, are we doing boneless? So Jeremy B says, does he sell meat or does he only process it for his own needs? He does sell it. He is actually working on getting his a USDA certificate from the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, for his to be able to butcher and sell, like to actually be a processor himself. Currently, the way it works is you have to take it to a place that has the inspector on site like all the time if you're going to resale, and it has to have that stamp from the USDA. So that's really hard to do. So one of the bottlenecks actually in our supply chain is that like large meat processing companies have taken over and put a whole bunch of people out of business, and they've lobbied to make it really difficult for people to butcher and sell their own meat, even at a local level. So he's working on getting the approval. They've applied for the permit for a mobile butcher station for smaller animals, and then they are working their way up. So Leah says, sounds like he went whole hog on the information you provided. Sorry, I couldn't resist one more pun. No, keep them coming. I'll be the straight man tonight, Leah. You got the jokes. I'll keep the straight face, and you're on a roll. So actually, what I'm really hoping in some ways is that he actually he's opening a butcher shop too, I believe, in Richmond, where you can bring the things and have them butchered, but also he will sell out of there. But they do cows, they do pigs. He's butchered a cow once, but apparently you need to let a cow hang for like 2 weeks to let everything tenderize and relax. So that's a huge logistical issue. But he is hoping to open that shop. So it's possible, if we do end up getting into a production level type thing, that I will have somebody an hour away who will be able to process our pigs if we do end up wanting to do it in some sort of commercial form or fashion. currently, as you guys know, we just want to do it for our own family. We just want enough to sustain ourselves, and potentially we will grow things. Two of the pigs, we have two families from church. We're going to come do the pigs with us. So while we're raising them and doing all that, they are paying for all the feed. So we will get reimbursed for that, and then they will be their pigs. We're not doing it for a profit or anything like that because we've never done it before. So it's a learning experience. So, but eventually we might want to do that. As we clear more land and have more space for more animals, we might venture into at least trying to recoup all of our feed, so that way our pigs are essentially free. But he's a good resource. He's not that far, and we're excited to have it. So speaking of clearing land, Hank has been doing a lovely job. I've been working up where the old chicken tractor was, and we have pushed over a bunch of trees in that area, and I'm getting the hang of how to do it because it's something I've never done before. So that's going well. We did lose a chicken to, well, I'm not sure what we lost her to. It's one of our egg layers, one of our rescue birds. But the kids had come in. Hey, Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, hello from Kansas City. Welcome. We are glad you're here. Welcome to the Flannel Fam Forum. I probably can't say that 3 times fast. But a couple days ago, the kid said there was a chicken walking around, like using its wing to walk, and we hadn't, my wife and I, Mrs. Flannel, hadn't seen it. So now it's also, they're basically free range, so there's places for them to hide, and it might have just been chilling. But we got rescue birds from Craigslist. They were like $5 a hen, and we picked up 15 of them so we could increase our laying. And they had like shaved beaks and were missing fur and not fur, hair, gosh, feathers. They were kept way too close to each other. They were, plucking each other and things like that. We got them out here. They all feathered out. They've been laying really well. I mean, we've had them out here for almost 6 months, and we haven't had any issue. So 2 days ago, I went out to take care of the birds, and she was just like laying in the middle of the field. And so I went over and picked her up, and she moved a little bit, but not really. And so as I was holding her, I started to inspect her. And, well, hello, Mom. Watching from my original home, the launching place. And so I picked her up, and, eyes are closed. She's still breathing, but not doing so well. And I picked up, one of her wings and opened it, and she had egg sacs, like, all over underneath her wings. And as I got her into the more sunlight and looked, there were just mites everywhere. And acres, quarter acre. Hey, bud. So we I brought her back to the house and was gonna try and maybe put some DE. I do have some ivermectin around for absolutely only farm purposes, completely only, never for anything else. Did you hear me, Google? That's all we use it for. And we, but when I got her back to the house and kind of started to look at her under the light, I realized she was too far gone. She was guppy breathing and end of life things. So we put the poor thing out of her misery, and then we went and inspected our other birds. I don't see. I love it, Brett. He says YouTube channel name change complete. Oh, hey, it's our first Russian. Look, he's rushing. Do you guys see that, Irving? Irving, what are you doing, Irving? You're 33, whatever. Go away. So we had to put her down for her own sake. She was so infested. Like, even as I started to move feathers down her back and stuff, there were just mites everywhere. And it was unfortunate. But the other birds seemed healthy, so we took some diatomaceous earth and we sprinkled it around the feed area and whatnot. I don't know if she was sick beforehand, because none of the other birds have anything on them. We cleaned out all their bedding. Isn't that so weird? This is a totally off topic thing, but does the wall change color behind me when I like do this? My phone is like trying to keep up with like the pink in my hand, so the color like on my screen anyways. Oh man, sorry. The color on my screen anyways changes. So, anyways, that's my ADD talking. We so we put her down. Um, we burned the carcass just to make sure that we didn't have anything spread. It does change well. um, so isn't that weird? So I noticed it when I go to take a drink of my tea, like the world. Woo! That's so cool. Sorry. Apparently there's an app to get it not to do that. I don't know what it is, but I'll have to figure that out because it distracts me. But we eliminated the carcass. We cleaned out the entire chicken coop of everything that was in it, any bedding and stuff like that. And yeah, mic drop exactly. And we sprinkled DE underneath the new bedding. We sprinkled a little bit on top. We sprinkled it around where they've been dust bathing. And so far, the past 2 days, we haven't had any more issues. We haven't seen any like flopping around. So yeah, Leah says, "What's in that tea?" I know, right? But it's really funny. It's when it gets. So I think it's because my face is such a vastly different color from the wall that when I put this near it, everything gets peachy. Peach tea. I should get some peach tea. I'm already almost out of this tea. Um. Oh. Nancy has a Brian too. You spelled his name wrong, Nancy. How dare you? I'm just kidding. You have Y's in your name, so it makes sense that you put it in his name. Oh my gosh. So busy week coming up. There's the invasion of Ukraine, obviously. And after that, we have our interview, we have an edit, we have some trash in the garden to clean up, to get it ready. I have more barrels to fill with water. The pump is holding. Currently, we have water currently, so we're gonna finish filling our thermal barrels. It's still getting pretty cold in there. We're still getting down into the 20s, so we're hoping to get that rectified. We have some elderberries that are growing. Ricky sent us a lovely gift card to Happy Toes, Happy Karma Toes. I don't remember. But a small nursery near where he is, and so we ordered some stuff. Met their proprietor. It's very nice. Jeremy says, I heard you got the permit for the well. Did you say when they will start drilling? So we're supposed to Karma Happy Toes. That's it. Thank you, Ricky. We're supposed to get the permit. She said first of this week, so hopefully Monday or Tuesday. I did tell the well guy it was coming. He said he'd do what he can, so I'm hoping that he gets out here sooner than later. I'm not really sure when that's going to happen, but so we're still working on the thermal stabilization of our greenhouse, but we should start doing some seed sprouting soon. We have a little bit more. Are you gonna come say hi? Come here. Come here. Caramel came over to say hi. We're gonna start prepping some of the soil and some of the land to plant in bulk, which we haven't done before, except for the turnips. They were delicious. And we did the oats and the peas and stuff like that, but those were field casting type things, not gardening type things. Tonight, actually, after the live stream, I have to go back out into the frozen tundra, and we're going to block the chickens up and move them again. So we're starting to move them a little bit more quickly so they get more feed. So, yes, Leah says, I emailed you the channels I watch for your interviews. It was a book, sorry. I watch and listen to a lot of YouTube. Don't be sorry. It was, I have all those emails actually in a separate folder I've made for the interview purposes, because there's a whole bunch of people I would like to talk to, and there's a bunch of people that you would like me to talk to. So if you guys have questions that you would like to know about either homesteading or gardening, or not gardening, or YouTube, how to make a channel, things like that, You can send me an email with those, and I will try and incorporate them into whoever I'm interviewing. I'm trying to let you guys know in advance who I'm going to interview, because if there's questions you have specifically for Scott Head, go ahead and send them to me, or Billy from Permapasture. So if you want to go peruse some of Billy's videos, if you haven't, super knowledgeable guy, very cool homestead they have going on. He's buddied with Sean the Modern Yeoman also. But you can send me questions and I will put those into the rotation. So I want these to be good, in-depth type interviews. I don't want them to be just, two people rambling on for a while. So, thank you, Brett. Brett says, Brian, for those who do not know, what is your email address? It is theflannelguys54@gmail.com. It's also in our About tab on the page for our, excuse me, for our channel. So if you went to the Flannel Farms channel and then scrolled over to the About page, it's in the description. Yeah, Leah says, I'm so glad you got Billy too. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking to Billy. He's more, I don't know if homesteading's the right word, but he's got a lot of knowledge in a huge area when it comes to homesteading. So gardening, animal husbandry. He did a video recently on how to protect your vehicle from an EMP. Super cool. So also next week, if all goes well, we, Mrs. Flannel is going to live stream with me. Woo! Marilyn, hello. She says hello from Oklahoma. Bone sauce, that's right, Amy. Billy is a bone sauce king, knows a lot about bone sauce. But my wife is going to come on to the live stream, Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise, and discuss what we are planning for our gardens, when we're planting it, and when we're planting it, what we're planting, how much we're planting, of what, why, how much we need for the family, all those kind of wonderful researchy type topics that I absolutely have a hard time studying for myself. She has been working on this, and she's got a list together in a whole notebook full of gardening type things for the next month, the next 6 months. It's super cool. So all your gardening type questions that you have for what we're going to be doing and why and where and how, she will be here to discuss. Yay! My wife is a private individual, so while she likes what we're doing with the channel, and she enjoys me reading all of your comments to her, she's not terribly interested in being on the screen herself, which I've conveyed in some of the videos with her like running away from the camera and stuff. But she is our homestead secret weapon. So she's been doing a lot of research into canning and getting supplies ready and the food prep and all those things. So Leah says, Billy can get you raising pigs for dang near free. Exactly. And that's one of the reasons I want to talk to him, because this feed bill, my goodness. Nancy says, God gave you a great gift when he gave you a wife who is into the details. You've got that right. And the details she's into are details that matter. She takes great pride in her running of our finances and the schedules and all those things. She really is. She's an administrator extraordinaire. That's really what it boils down to. So the details and the finances and all that stuff. One of the huge reasons that we're successful is because of her behind the scenes work. It's the nitty gritty boring work. It's not the glamorous, jumping on the tractor and going plowing stuff and banging down things and whatever. It's the knowing how much money you have for diesel or for seeds or for whatever. So yeah, she's phenomenal. Super cool lady. She made one real bad decision like 18 years ago, and I don't know if I can trust her judgment since. Mom says she is amazing and you guys make a great team. Yep, we do a lot of good work together. We joke that if you're burning it at both ends, you forgot about the middle. So we're always she's one of the few people in life I've met up that can keep up with my work ethic. And that sounds, I don't know, probably arrogant or whatever, but I just, I haven't fet, I haven't met many people that just enjoy work and accomplishing things. So I find satisfaction in it, so I do it. It's not like some begrudging, I have to force myself out of bed to go do things. So since I enjoy it, I do a lot of it. Nancy says she fell for my hair. My hair was much shorter when we met. It was more like a high and tight. This was a bonus she didn't know she was gonna get. Not bad for almost 40. Most of it's still there. It's my natural hair. I wash it, I cut it, I swim with it. Start doing Bosley commercials. I'll just be the after photos. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so we're gonna get some more of the garden wrapped up and get that ready for planting. There's so much to do, and we're having such a good time doing it. I hope you guys are having a good time watching it. So yeah, that's kind of been what's been going on. what our new plans are. I expect to wake up with the announcement and tell you all, yay, with a post or something that we've passed that magical 4,000 hours mark. I started to film the fire, but it didn't work very well. But I got a really cool explosion, so we're gonna have that up in a video fairly soon. It was kind of a vapor air explosion. We were maybe playing with some gasoline around a pile, and then we lit it, and it gave a lovely woof. So yeah, I got it on film, and it's going to be in a video. I just haven't exactly figured out where. But did you guys have any questions for us about either the pigs, the well, the property, lifestyles of the poor and not famous? I think in the next probably month and a half we should be past 2,000 subscribers, and I'm aiming for, of course it's all in God's hands and you never know how the chips are going to fall, but I'm aiming for I think we should have over 10,000 subscribers by summer. Homesteading stuff is picking up, we're getting busier, so Amy came in late. What breeds of pigs? So when we first moved up here, we just got here. Her food store. Oh, Sabrina says, I would love for your wife to include her food storage plans. I will tell her that. We moved out here in August of last year, and we threw a whole bunch of chickens on the property. We planted a bunch of turnips, and we were looking for pigs. Now there's a lot of overwintering pigs can be expensive, but we did not know how supply chain things were going to look. So we decided to just get whatever we could get, and we were going to put it on the property and make it work. So we are hot wire raising pigs in our woods. We put them out in our woods on purpose because these are areas that we want to clear anyways. Eventually we want pasture raised type pigs and rotating paddocks and things like that. But for now we're kind of using them as underbrushing machines. Same with the chickens. We have the chickens in the fields right now because we planted winter oats, spring peas. I think that was it. Spring oats. And we had hoped to have a couple cows on the property by now, but it just hasn't worked out. So I think one of the things we may have underestimated was as you add things to the property that you have to do. So like the pigs are out there, well, they're eating more and more as they get bigger. And so like feed, it takes longer to fill their feed. I have to get more feed, their water, they're drinking more water. So, and of course our water situation went down. But as you add, we added 50 baby cockerel chicks. As you add these things, the time it takes to maintain those things also goes up. So it's not like you finish a task and then you can just move on to the next thing. So I think sort of in the back of my mind, I thought, well, I'll build this chicken coop and the chickens will be good and I'll make this pig area and the pigs will be good and I'll move on to the cows. But then you realize you have to go back and move the chickens because they've eaten everything in that area, and and then one of them they gets mites, and you got to fix that. And then the pigs need more water because they figured out how to just open up one of the valves and make all the water run out. So things just kind of stack. But all that to say, we're moving the chickens around. So we didn't know what was going to happen. So we went ahead and got. Originally, we were going to get 2 pigs for our family, and we figured that would be plenty, and it would be plenty, I think. But one of the guys I was talking to, who's my pig expert here locally with me, said if you're going to get 2, get 4. Because, hey, Joe says, hello, Brian. Hope you and your family had a great Sunday. We did have a great Sunday. I learned a whole lot about butchering pigs. But you can watch the beginning part on the playback and you'll hear all about that. So we have 5 pigs because a guy was selling them for $30 a piece. They are a Yorkshire. This is per him. I'm not a pig expert by any stretch, so I can't say, well, it's this type because of this. I'm just telling you what the guy told me. They're a Yorkshire, Duroc, Hertford mix. So we basically have mutt pigs. But they're not Guinea, they're not Cooney, they're not purebred, they're not Ossibalt. So they're just kind of a mutt. 2 of them are almost completely black, and then 3 of them are like smattering with spots on them. They look almost like watercolors. They're super fun. Pigs are so much fun to have on the property. So we have not had any predator issues. We got our pigs at about 8 weeks old, so they were 30 or 40 pounds already, and we have had no issues with the hot wire. We're in essentially coastal-ish Virginia. That's where Urbana's located. It's on the upper or middle peninsula. I forget. Northern Neck is technically what the area is called. We're outside the Tidewater area now, and we're in the Northern Neck. But we have foxes on the property, and I think Berkshire's the one that's white and black pitched. Yes. Joe says Duroc is that the breed with the reddish brown in color, and is Berkshire the one with the white and black? I'm honestly not sure. So we put up a hot wire, and what we did was we trained ours on a hot wire first. So what we did was we put some posts in the ground, and I put hog panel on the outside of the posts, and then on the inside of the posts at about nose level for their age, we put the hot wire, and we left them in there for about a week. And then after a week, we took off one panel so that it was open on one side. The other 3 sides were still with the hog panel. And then they didn't get out. They stayed. They respected the wire. They got zapped a few times, and they knew that's what was what. And then we took down the next panel, waited a day or 2, took down the next panel, and then we just left them in there for like 3 days, and they stayed. So then what we did was they were still small enough that we could move them fairly easily, so we put them in dog crates. We closed off the shelter that I had built with them in it, and we pulled them into dog crates, and then we moved them over to the new area that we had set up with wire that was just straight out in the woods. And they're having a great time. I didn't know that pigs frolicked, but they do. They bounce around and hop and jump and run, and it's almost like having super squatty dogs. They're very smart. My water barrel is a 55-gallon drum that used to be a rain barrel, so I had put a 3/4 inch hose bib on the outside of it, and so I left that on because if you take it out you have a hole, and I put pig nipple water or stainless steel nipple waters on it. Well, they figured out that if they twist that thing with their mouth, they will open it up and all the water comes pouring out, and it makes a mud puddle for them. So they've been dumping their water. So I actually had to rotate the bucket so that it was sticking out. The spigot was sticking like out by the hot wire, and now they finally left it alone. So they're clever little cusses. Now I've had other friends who have said that their pigs were like digging under the wire, and that they were like the Great Escape and bashing stuff. I have had none of those issues. They haven't tried to escape. They haven't been testing boundaries. They like to run the perimeter, but they're just chilling. So I think we got good-natured pigs. One, I think we have the feed ratio and comfort ratio right, so that they don't have any reason to try and escape. They have more I think we wired in something like 7,000 square feet for 5 pigs, which is a whole lot of square footage for 5 pigs. Especially when you see a lot of homesteaders, they have kind of like the hoop house for pigs, the much significantly smaller square footage. But we have enough land to do that, and our hope was they would eat a lot of the veg and stuff, and they have. And so our feed bill, while it is not outrageous or anything, we haven't got it down to Billy's level yet, Leah. I watched a video where Billy said he had his pigs down to like 30 cents a pound, which is phenomenal. We're working on it. There's different things we have to plant, perm pasture and stuff that we're working to get. So Marilyn says, how much garden space will you plant this year? So that's a good question. Our kitchen garden with all the funsies in it is probably 6,000 square feet, 6 to 8,000 square feet. But we're going to also plant huge crops of peas. Like I want a field of beans or peas, whatever, legumes. I want a field-ish of potatoes of different sorts and a field-ish of squash. So we're probably going to plant something like 10,000 square feet of squash and 10,000 feet of beans and 10,000 feet of potatoes. Depending, actually my wife has all the numbers and how many slips and stuff we need for that. So yeah, we're total planted space, not including areas that we're doing for the animals, is probably going to be over an acre, maybe an acre and a half. If memory serves, an acre, something like 42,000 square feet. I can't remember. So Joe says, the peas you want, Brian, are those for eating fresh or dried for soups? Yes, both. Hey, Donna. Donna says, hello, everyone. Hope everyone had a great day or having one. Now, good night, everyone. Hope everyone has a good night. It's been a long day. With pain throughout my body, arthritis to blame. I'm sorry to hear that, Donna. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. I pray that you will be able to find rest and wake up limber and pain-free. We're doing beans for a couple of reasons. We don't actually eat a lot of beans, and I know everybody says, you sure know that I'm not going to eat. But the animals can eat it, and it stores really well. It's easy to store. You don't need refrigeration. So yes, we're going to eat them fresh while they're growing. We'll probably blanch some and things like that, but we're also going to dry them on the vine and store them in vast quantities for us and for the animals if needed. Because our basic philosophy for the food is whatever stores the best with the least amount of refrigeration and prep and things like that is going to be good. So we're growing things like squash because they keep for a long time. They have good carbohydrates. Peas, because peas have protein in them. It's poor man's beef, or poor man's meat. And then the potatoes are a starch. And again, all those things keep really well. They keep pretty easily without a whole lot of freezer space and stuff like that. So beans are the musical fruit. And who doesn't love music? That's right. So then we're going to have our vegetable garden, and then we're going to have a tea garden at some point, and we're going to have a medicinal garden. Yeah, sweet potatoes are going to be in there. We're going to have all kinds of potatoes. So the thing about potatoes is typically the thicker the skin, the longer they will preserve. So like the smaller... Benjamin, welcome. Just got here. Well, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, Jeremy says a coffee garden. Not quite, but there are teas that are very high in caffeine. So we want to have a tea garden. We want to have a medicinal garden. And then we're going to have our herb garden and those kind of things. So all that is going to eventually get put into place. I do want to build a hoop house so we can have some push your zone type things. So cocoa garden, perhaps a cocoa garden. We were joking about a chocolate tree earlier, and an ibuprofen tree. But we have a lot of plans for those kind of things. So right now, actually in the front area, I'm trying to clear some of the area the chickens had gone through, and I'll probably end up moving the pigs and clearing more over there. Oh, excuse me. Whew, a long couple days. But I'm trying to get that cleared out. So in the next couple days, not next couple days, next couple months, it will dry out, and we are going to have some large bonfires. So, and we're going to make biochar, of course. So before anybody starts yelling at me, we're going to burn and get biochar out of it. But I'm also hoping to have it cleared, burnt down, rubbish removed, and then when the fall rolls around, I can start planting some of those the pasture type things, so we can make good pasture. So Amy says, "Euculture microclimates for coffee is totally doable." Yeah, There's funsy stuff we want to grow too, and we want to play around with things and see what we can make happen. But first, we want to make enough food. We want to attempt to make a lot of food for ourselves in bulk before we start, poking around at the funsies kind of stuff. Not that growing a large quantity of, squash or something isn't fun. It is fun. So, Jeremy says, "Is there a website for pig processing people? I would love to pick up a couple of bellies and try my hand at making bacon." I'm sure there are. Paul, the guy I went to, doesn't have one yet. I'm actually in talks with him. Actually, Jeremy, the Bearded Butchers, they're a fairly popular duo. Seem like good guys. I don't know them personally. I've never interacted with them. Just watched some of their videos on bacon. But they have like an hour long. Theirs are like almost like Discovery Channel documentaries. Super good dudes. But they I lost my train of thought. Oh, so yeah, I'm trying to get that area pushed over now so the trees will dry so I can burn and then plant. Thank you. Marilyn says, "I hope your garden does great." So do we. We're excited. We're really excited. There's so many things that we've always wanted to do that we're going to have the opportunity to do here soon. I tell you, just puttering around on the tractor puts the biggest stupid smile on my face. So, like I said, we're going to invest in some infrastructure things, get the meat grinder, and we're just going to go ahead and buy, I think, a commercial type grade one, like a 1.5 horsepower, so that we don't spend the entire week making sausage. Excuse me. I really am excited to talk to you guys. It's just we spent 2 days out in the cold, standing in those fields, and I don't know about you guys, but staying warm is exhausting. Joe says, "Brian, have you heard of Mark Baker up in Michigan? He's a pig expert." I have not. There's so many people that I've yet to learn about. Somebody asked a little ways back, I missed it, but about if there's a cow update. Not currently. We are. Oh, Amy says, "You are lacking the super chat button. Upgrade for the next live stream." Amy, what's really exciting is you are in the very video that is going to make it possible for us to have super chats. So super chats are, well, you guys all know what super chats are, but we are not a monetized channel as of yet. We hit one requirement back in October, which was 1,000 subscribers. And this video should push us over that 4,000 hour mark. You have to have 4,000 hours of content watched in 1 year. And when I woke up this morning, we were at like 3,961 or something. So our live streams normally average about 50 hours watched. So all things being equal, if you guys hang with me long enough and we chat long enough, this very video will push us over that edge. So now I don't know how long it takes YouTube to actually bequeath upon us the right to do so. You guys have seen, thanks Joe. Joe says, "That's awesome, Brian. Congratulations, buddy. You guys are the ones that have done it. So thank you. Congratulations to us, the Flannel Forum fam. I could put out all the videos in the world, but if you guys didn't watch, then it wouldn't matter. So you guys have done it. You've propelled our little group over the edge. I really appreciate it. Um, Brett says 27 likes and 21 watching. You're doing something right. Yeah, people pop in and like and then leave. If only the likes counted as hours. Um, Adam says caution on giving chickens raw or dry beans. They should be cooked. Yeah. I wasn't gonna just. It was just. It's a. Amy says vote early, vote often. It's right. Even like when we had the pig guts and stuff like that, or the chicken guts that we fed to the pig Adams, we didn't feed it to them raw. We went ahead and threw it in a cauldron. So we would make it into proper food for them. But yeah, so we're getting that front area cleared up so we can rotate more pigs through. Investing in the different equipment that we'll need. I'm just going to go ahead and get this stuff now. I think while it's still attainable. But this too shall pass. Jeremy says, once you attain monetized status, is it possible to lose that status if viewership drops apart from being demonetized for violations? That sounds swill. Nice. We're really porking these jokes for all they're worth. I don't know, Jeremy. We're still growing, obviously, but we haven't had a month where we've gone backwards in any way. We've had some months that were like the same or just slight increases. For a while there in December, we didn't gain a lot of subscribers. But part of that is people aren't looking for homesteading channels in the dead of winter. So we're still growing, and it's still moving in the right direction. So I think we're building momentum coming into spring, and I think having more of those videos of us actually being able to plant and harvest. I love watching harvest videos on anybody's channel. I don't really care. Just the fruition of all that work, right? So, Joe says feeding bees to chickens, wouldn't that cause a lot of flatulence to the chickens? Farty chickens, I can only imagine. They fly farther actually if they flatulate and flap at the same time. Oh my gosh, what a highbrow group we are. So yeah, lots going on. I don't have a scheduled content release type thing, except that I do my best to make sure that we have a live stream somewhere between Saturday and Monday. Because of my work schedule and the way I edit the videos and things like that, we get. Leah says, how fitting would a video full of pig jokes be, and whatever brings home the bacon. I typically edit my videos during my day job, which is in the fire department. I'm a firefighter paramedic in the city, and I typically have time there, and they have better internet than I have here. So what I end up doing is filming 3 or 4 videos, then going to work and editing them all and shooting them out. So there'll be like 3 or 4 days where like 3 videos come out, and then there'll be like 4 days where no videos come out. But we always do a live stream. Always make sure we have an opportunity to chat with people and see how we're doing. Acre says things keep getting weird in this country, so this channel's bound to grow. I agree. Sabrina says, I know you said your wife is shy, but I would also be interested in the urban medicinal garden plans. Well, Sabrina, you come on next week and ask her all the stuff you would like to know. I'm very excited that she's gonna populate maybe this area right here, maybe this area right here. I don't know. We'll have a vote, left or right. So yeah, I really have a feeling we're going to keep growing as a channel. I think we're going to start growing quickly again. We've had fits and spurts, but as you guys know, the interviews that we've been doing, or the interview that we've done, and the other ones coming up are going to be very exciting. So Cassie Chickens is a sequel to Angry Birds. Nice. That's explosive. So yep, I'm excited for what the future holds. And I'm really grateful that you guys have been here and that you guys have continued to support our little endeavors. And I look forward to watching us continue to grow as we grow. Did you guys have any other? Marilyn says we used to give our pigs away from Cheese Factory free. We also used to get free rice from the rice factory. That's cool. Marilyn, so what do we do? Nancy says I think we all need some sleep. For a minute, I read sheep. I take a slop bucket into work because I'm in the fire department. We spend 24 hours there, and there's like 12 dudes all in one station, and a lady at my station. And any time we clean out the fridge or any leftovers or whatever, as long as it's not also pig products, we throw in that slop bucket. So I bring home normally a 5-gallon bucket, give or take, worth of slop for the pigs about every other day. So that helps us keep our feed bill down a little bit. But really, they have plenty of space and nature to roam around in and munch on. So they do well. Jeremy says, Happy President's Day, everyone. Yay. Presidents. We'll leave politics alone for today. But yeah, this too shall pass, guys. I don't know what the economy is going to look like on the other side of things. I've been listening to a lot of the, hey, Bill got me all the way to work, and I'm happier than a pig in muck. Wouldn't it be a pig in a truck? See what I did there? I mixed your professions with a pig joke. But I've been listening to a podcast, the History of Rome. Something like 190 episodes long. I have a lot of time driving back and forth to work. And, there were phases the Republic went through, right? And the actual Republic didn't last a whole long time. And then there were they were Caesar, but they weren't emperor. And then they were emperor, and then they were emperor, and they were Augusta emperor, and they were Caesar, and they were different levels of emperor. And then there was the triumvirate, and then there was the single emperor again. And there was like 4 different kingdoms. All this stuff over like 1,000 years. And for a long time, the Romans were it was just from like farming men, like landholders who would join the legions and go do all this war for hundreds and hundreds of years. And then it was anybody could join if you had enough money. And then it was, well, you don't even need enough money. If we conquer you, then you give us people. And it turned in and there were all these different stages and all these different points, but it just kept plugging along. You know what I mean? So I don't know what the future of our country looks like. And I don't know how painful the transition is going to be, because all these transitions are typically painful. But the people were still there, right? Obviously some people died, sad. But we can get all hung up on tomorrow and parties, political parties and policies and stuff. And I'm not saying don't do your civic duty and pay attention. Obviously we do. When the government fears the people, we have liberty, and when people fear the government, we have tyranny. So we should be vigilant. But we should also remember, and for those of you that don't know and are new to the channel, I am a Christian, and I do believe in heaven and hell. And I don't think that this place is our eternal home and the place where all of our plans and hopes and dreams should lie. I think we should be wise with what we have. We should be careful, but we should also recognize that you can do all the preparation in the world and still get cancer and die. You can have all the food stored up wherever you want and have a heart attack tomorrow. So we're not gonna waste a whole bunch of time being worried about things. We are going to prepare as best we can with the tools that we have and the knowledge and equipment we have to be able to take care of our families and to take care of our communities. And that's what we're going to do. And when everything hits the fan, we will hopefully be more ready than most and be able to help those around us. So that is the point. So while we prepare for doom and gloom, we live in hope. We don't live in fear. So that is kind of the purpose also of our channel, is I want to encourage people. I want you to feel uplifted when you watch a video, even when we make mistakes. We show it all. When things go right, they go right. When they go wrong, they go wrong. And we dust it off and we, try another route. I currently have a trailer parked out there with 3 wheels on it because I bought one that I ended up not using. So, it was it was an endeavor that we thought we were going to go, and now we're not. So Nancy says, I just had such a great childhood. I get sad thinking my grandchildren have this mess. Yes, in some ways, Nancy, that's true, but we're not raising So this is my personal philosophy. I'm not raising dragon slayers to live in a land with no dragons. So we are raising little warrior, tough, resilient children, and they are going to be able to handle the tough and resilient things. So, yep. Amy says Ecclesiastes chapter 3, or the song from the birds. There is a season. So, um, yeah, Joe says bloopers are the best with some folks. Yeah, when something goes goofy, we show that too. I try and keep it toward the end, so that way it doesn't interfere with the flow of the video, or I throw it right in the beginning when something happens. But we're having fun doing it. I think of, honestly, I've been thinking a lot of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego lately. And when, everyone was told to bow the knee and they said no, and he said, well, I'm going to throw you in the furnace. And they said, okay, God can save us or not. It's his choice. Either way, we're not bowing to you. And that's the way we should be. I don't know if they were afraid or not. Doesn't sound like it, but there isn't a whole lot of verses about it. So, yeah, Jeremy says saw a bumper sticker that said "Strong mother raising lions, not sheep." That's right. So we've talked about it before on the channel, but the old adage, hard times make hard men make good times make soft men make hard times make hard men make good times, etc., etc. So there's also an ancient Chinese curse that says, may you live in interesting times. These are definitely some interesting times. So keep your heads up, be prepared as best you can, and we'll leave the rest in God's hands. Something else I was thinking about too, if you don't mind me waxing philosophical for a minute longer. When the children of Israel were taken out of Egypt, the Egyptians paid them to leave, right? So they were giving them gold and jewelry and stuff, and just whatever you do, just leave, just get out. So basically, it was the Israelites plundered the Egyptians, and they went out into the desert, and they had a ton of wealth, right? I mean, they had tons of gold because the Egyptians had given it. The superpower of the world gave them tons and tons of wealth. You know what they didn't have? Food. And of course they complained. But God sent manna, right? So they had all the gold in the world, but they had no food. And they had to rely wholly on God. And you don't think about it necessarily, but that's the lesson, right? That we should be focused on, I think currently, is where is the source of our food? And when you see the shelves and things that we always thought were going to be stable, like Walmart or Lowe's or Food Lion or wherever, and you see empty shelves and there's not food to buy, well, we might have been relying on the wrong thing. So we are going to remember, I think that's one of the reasons why we're told to pray every day for our daily bread, right? That's the way he taught us to pray. Give us this day our daily bread. Because it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. If he doesn't provide the food for you, there's no food. So it's not your job that provides it. It's not the almighty federal note. It's not, the gold you have buried in your backyard. It's not the skill that you have to wrest it from the land. It's only by his grace that we eat. So anyways, Brett Akers from Acres Quarter Acres says, being flawed is being human, and it's refreshing and uplifting seeing it in action. Well, good. Amy B, yes, that's another great one I love. Shirt sleeves to suit sleeves, I think is what it was, isn't it? In 3 generations. So Marilyn says, definitely encouraged. Wonderful. Joe says, one thing that cracks me up with your brother David the Good is that the video where he pouts angrily and asks Miss Rachel, did you plant this awful Z word? Oh my goodness. Amy says, you're channeling my pastor's sermon from this morning. Deja vu. Well, your pastor sounds like a super cool dude. Does he also have good hair? Just most of my pastors have been bald. I think it's because they get all. Anyways, it's the same spirit, Amy. Same spirit. So, anyhow, Carolyn says we also need to be grateful to God for his blessings and provisions. Absolutely. 100%. And that's what I mean. We need to know where it comes from and be grateful for it. So, moderate hair only. Here at Funnel Farms, we do everything with a full, thick bushel of hair. Anyhow, my dear friends, I do have some things to do tomorrow. I have to get ready for our interview with Scott Head. I'm super excited about that. I have to go block up some chickens tonight. So, Marilyn says, have I gotten some battery packs? I have not. Actually, I even haven't checked. Did you send some? Um, I do have an Amazon wish list up that you can find on our About page. I think I have battery packs, a larger memory card for the phone, not the phone, for the Canon. That's our typical. We use a Canon 80 EOS 80D, um, and I put in for some different headphones because I keep taking my daughter's headphones. These are like not they're off-brand Sony's. They're Snokies. So if you're inclined to support the channel before we have super chats and things like that, those things are on the wish list. And as you guys know, for those of you that are new, if you haven't heard, anything that gets sent to the channel is used for the channel. So any money that we do make from the channel is going to get reinvested into the channel, into equipment and things like that. And once we get kind of everything squared away the way we need it, then we will be more specific in what it's used for. And if the channel gets so big that I can't keep track of all the money, well, then I'll tell you when that happens too. So, but we don't hope in YouTube channels. We don't hope in dollars. Anyhow, my friends, my flannel family, thank you for joining us on our forum this evening. It's been a long couple days, so we're going to go ahead and call it a night. I do appreciate you being here. This is the video that's going to, like I said, push us over that magic 4,000 hour mark. And once YouTube comes back with our Sancta Sancta and says that we are clear, I will let you guys know in a post as quickly as possible. I do appreciate your time. It means the world to us that you would spend the evening with us and encourage us. You being here encourages me. So I hope you got some of that back. Much love to you all, and have a wonderful night.